Good afternoon, everyone. Stedman, I am delighted to be joined in conversation with you. Thank you so much for joining us here at the Fortune Global Forum.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Before we delve into the conversation at hand, a quick reminder, we will be taking some audience questions now that we have Stedman here with us, so do keep that in mind as we kick off this conversation. Stedman, I have your book here with us, and we'll soon be really delving into it. You are a steadfast proponent of what you have coined identity leadership, and you've effused about the role it plays in mobilizing teams and mobilizing workforces and helping organizations reach their maximum potential. Define this theory for us and its significance.
Well, identity leadership, thank you so much for that. Identity leadership is self-leadership based on the philosophy that you can't lead anybody else until you first lead yourself. So I've kind of dedicated my life to help people figure out how to work on themselves, how to organize themselves, change the learning system around so they learn how to learn, and then self-actualize their potential as a human being. And there's a process for that. And so I've been looking for this kind of all of my life to try to fill that hole up in my heart based on my background and stuff I've had to go through with my family and all of that. So the ability to be able to, again, maximize your potential based on who you are, to me, is one of the most important things in the 21st century.
Yeah. You use this phrase repeatedly, self-leadership. What do you mean by that? What does that look like in practice?
Well, self-leadership is learning how to take information, education, and make it relevant to who you are as a person, your talents, your abilities, your skills, and to be able to organize content and take this iPhone, which is one of the greatest tools in the world, and make that relevant to your growth and empowerment. Most of us can't do that. You got 8 billion people who basically, they wake up in the morning, they wash their face, they brush their teeth, they get something to eat, they get the kids all to school, work all day, come home in the afternoon, they spend time with the family, they watch TV, they go to bed, maybe they dream that's Monday. And they repeat that same cycle over and over every single day. So if you did the same thing you did yesterday as you will do today, as you will do tomorrow, what have you done? The answer would probably be the same thing, which is nothing. And then everything we learn in school, we get to memorize, take tests, repeat the information back, get labeled with a grade. 2 weeks later, if I asked you what you learned, what you would probably say, I forgot, or nothing. So nothing from nothing is nothing. So the most important question is, do you know who you are? And can you source information and make that relevant to your talents, to your abilities, your skills, so that you can constantly grow beyond your circumstances?
Do you know who you are? Answering that question requires self-awareness. That is certainly key to identity leadership, certainly key to being an efficacious leader. That's easier said than done. How do leaders develop this muscle? How do they, augment their ability to be introspective and have that level and that deep level of self-awareness? And
I mean, most you won't get it in school for the most part. So it really kind of is a privilege to be able to organize content and apply that to your development. My life changed when I learned how to learn. Because before I was just reading and not applying information to my talents and to my ability. And this thing called love is kind of the center of everything. It's your core base. So, I mean, I teach in schools and I have curriculum in schools and colleges and all of that. And the first thing I do is I get people to write down everything they love in their life, their passion, their purpose, what they care about, their interests, and to be able to organize information, education, and apply that to your development so that you can define your own existence, which is what we're looking for today as self-directed learners, lifelong learners. And this room is full of talent. So the question is how can you leverage that talent to be the best person you could possibly be and create as much value as you were born to create, based on your potential as a person.
Yeah. You said your life changed when you learned how to learn. I mean, we have luminaries in the room, we have CEOs, we have world leaders who arguably believe that they know how to learn. What do you mean by that? You learned how to learn. It was a bit more mind expansive for you.
Well, learning how to learn, it means you focus on the internal foundation of what you're good at. You focus on what you're passionate about. You focus on your purpose in life. And then you're able to grow and organize yourself in a way that you can create a sustainable process to be really great at what you do. And now we have access to content and information around the world to be able to apply all of that and leverage into the global marketplace to create more value. To me, is learning how to learn, and everything you read, everything you learn, everything you experience, you'll be able to take those experiences and all of that and make that relevant to your empowerment.
This ideology around identity leadership can feel a bit nebulous. Dalton, where does one begin?
Well, one begins with writing down and being conscious of everything that you want to achieve in your life. Everything you're passionate about. Again, love is like, there's only two emotions. There's either love or hate, good or bad, will or won't, can or can't. Looking at the glass half empty or half full. So to be able to choose, man, what you're good at, what you care about, what you want to do, what makes you happy, and then to build from that, and then to be able to apply information to that so that you can constantly improve your life and get out of that routine is how you begin to create maximum potential.
Give us a personal anecdote. Have you applied that in your life?
Well, coming from a small town, kind of having a race-based consciousness, growing up with two special need brothers in my family was very difficult for me. I grew up with low self-esteem, a lack of confidence in myself, being defined by my relationship with Oprah, of course, and being put into a box. I didn't know how to define myself. And I was looking to figure out how do I create kind of equality in my own life, and how do I define myself. And I realized that it's not an outside job, it's an inside job. So we're often defined by house and car and money and title and all those external things. And when I realized that I first had to focus internally to build my own existence, to define my own potential, that's when I realized, oh, you're going the wrong way, and that most people in the world are focused on the outside world as a way to define their existence and build value. So when I changed that perspective and that started taking information and education and making it relevant to my own personal professional development, that's when I started to grow. And I realized it's not who you are, it's not where you start, it's who you can become. And we live in the greatest country in the world, which is America. So to be able to live in this country and to utilize all the systems and all of the possibilities and make that relevant to our personal professional development, that's pretty much a gift for us and an opportunity.
Turning to the audience, any questions? If you have one, do raise your hand and Mike Handler will come to you. Any questions? Well, that makes my life easier because I have many more questions for you. You were talking about identity. We just had a pivotal election. Identity certainly played a central role. The world has become far more interconnected. Business has become increasingly global, and the leader's role has become much more complex. They face a slew of challenges and setbacks on a daily basis. What role does self-leadership play in keeping one motivated and grounded?
Well, I think the key is to be able to invest in yourself today. We want folks to be self-directed, lifelong learners. You have a global marketplace today, which is great. You couldn't have a better opportunity than to be living in this era today, because you have access to so much information. And to be able to source that information and make that relevant, again, to your gifts, to what you do well, to me, is the opportunity. We've never had so much access to information before in our lives. So to be able to apply that information to who we are every day, is an opportunity.
And when you say self-directed in your estimation, is that creating a purpose, a mission, and executing on it?
That's really being excited about learning, being excited about reading and developing and building and creating and designing your own future because you can. And we talk about production and performance. We want people to perform. We want people to build value. The value that you give yourself is the value the world gives you. The world sees you as you see yourself. So how do I get you to perform at the highest possible level based on what's possible for you? Utilizing all those tools that can be relevant to your development, personally and professionally.
Yeah. A perfect segue into my next question, because you've outlined in your book here about identity leadership, about 9 steps or so to understanding and discovering who one is. Some of the steps you list include, outlining your vision, creating a support network, and leaving your comfort zone and facing your fears. Out of those 9, where do most leaders stumble and face the most internal resistance?
Yeah, most people stumble with the first step of knowing who they are.
Right from the outset.
Yeah, because they're taught so much to focus on the outside world as a way to define their existence. And so they lose control for the most part. They have no control to develop, build, define, or create, or design their future. And so they get stuck, and the world is constantly changing all the time. So you have to keep adjusting. And you have to keep adjusting, based on, how the world, what's happening currently in your environment and where you are today. So that's the foundational piece that you have to go back to the core of who you are all the time, and that's very difficult in a changing environment.
Out of those 9 steps, I'm sure you're going to say, look, they're all your favorites, but which would you say is the most catalytic as one thinks about how they maximize their potential and certainly the potential of their companies?
I think, once you find out who you are, vision is very important. What can you create? What's possible for you? Who you want to become? Developing setting goals, developing a travel plan around, again, where are you going? Being able to master the rules of the road, your guiding principles. What are your principles that you want to live by? Building relationships, all those things that are relevant to, again, building value.
Yeah. Really quickly, you noted at the top of the conversation, you said, a challenge has been being identified by your relationship with Oprah Winfrey. That said, you've been a longtime friend and confidant of the media mogul. So I would be remiss if I didn't ask you, how her leadership style differs from or potentially aligns with this ethos around identity leadership that you've set forward.
Well, number one, she's authentic. She believes in what she does. She's an extraordinary learner. She's reading all the time. Here's a person that reads about 5 books a week. She's able to apply the information to her development. She takes charge of her own social economic opportunities. She utilizes the free enterprise system as a way to enhance her value. So all of those things are relevant to the 9-step success process. The process of success is the same for everybody. The difference is some people know it, some people don't.
Yeah, fantastic. That's all. We will take no time. All right. Well, with that being said, thank you so much, Stedman, for your time. This is such a great conversation. Thank you. Such a pleasure.